the state of Goa, we have now the orientations that are lined up, which will focus on three components, namely mental fitness, financial management as youth, and Mera Yuva Bharat. We will now have the first speaker to address us. The first session will be on financial management as youth by Sonal Daivajna, practicing chartered accountant.
Check.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, students. Yes. All set? Oh, yeah, sure. Yes.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Today we have with us Mrs. Sonal Daivajna, Chartered Accountant. She has secured gold medal in BCom degree from Goa University in the year 2011. She pursued her MCom degree in the year 2023. She also holds a MBA in Marketing Management. She completed her certificate course in GST by ICAI in 2020. She conducted GST and income tax practical courses for colleges in Goa. She represented Goa branch of ICAI at All India Allocation Competition held at Mumbai, ICAI in the year 2013. She has also conducted lectures on GST for MCom students of Government College of Arts, Commerce and Science at KPM, excelling practical aspects. She is a partner at Ganesh, Daivajna and Company. She also has the experience as trainee associate at Cesar Goa Limited. She currently holds the position as a director at STS Ecosphere Advisor Private Limited in Margam and Pranjim branch office since 2018. Let's have a round of applause for our guest, Mrs. Sonal Daivajna. On the behalf of GVM's Dr. Dadavati College of Education, we welcome you, ma'am, for this session. All of us are eagerly waiting for your informative words on the topic financial management as youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we start with the session? Yes? I'm here. Yes. Okay. So today we are going to talk about financial management, or one more topic, what was allotted, financial literacy. Now, what I can say is, considering the youth here, I have taken some simple examples to understand what is all about financial literacy, financial management, and why do we actually need to know about it. So, here, what are the most important components of this financial management? Okay, there are some brief which is given, like cash flow planning, tax planning, investment planning, insurance planning, retirement. This is given on the slide. But if I go to explain each and everything, considering the limited time, it won't be possible. Okay. So what I can say is, when you talk about financial planning, okay, the main thing is cash flow. Now when we study in accounts, we know what is cash flow. Correct? As per accounting standard 3. Okay, commerce students will know this better. So we know about cash flow. Now why it is important for us to know about the cash flow? We start our day, we come to college. Let me take your example. You all come to college, right? How? What is the mode of transport? Bus. Okay, what is the ticket cost? 20. So when you spend 20, what is it? Is it cash inflow or cash outflow? Cash outflow. Okay, what are the other expenses for you all? So this has to be more like an interactive session. So I expect some kind of response from you all. What are the other cash outflows? Because currently inflow, if I can understand 90% of the student, the inflow will be 0. which will go to a certain extent in the near future, okay? But let us see current situation. One is the bus cost, ticket cost. What are the other expenses? Sorry? Oh, canteen. Okay, canteen we spend in a day. What is the total amount? 100 rupees? 100 minimum. So 120. Any other? We have to go back, no? 20 rupees for going back. Our home, back to a place. Okay. Any other cost? You don't go for shopping, movies, stationery. So there are a lot of expenses which you incur as a student. Okay. Now, when I talk about financial management, currently, if you don't have any revenue, some who are working part-time will have a minimum stipend, say 3,000 or 4,000, that's your inflow. But most of the students will have zero inflow. Currently, you are dependent on your parents or other family members. So how you can reduce on this outflow? Like one of the students said canteen. Can we save on that canteen cost? Of course, yes. If we carry tiffin, which we used to do in college, if we carry tiffin, then probably we'll save some 100 rupees per day. And it goes to 30 into 100 per month. 3,000? 3,000 into 12 months. How much is the cost? 36,000. Correct, no? 12 into 30,000, 3,000, 36,000 you can save. So these are small things which as a college student you should know, because currently there is no inflow but there is outflow. So what you all can do is think about saving when you spend. That's called as cash flow. Now all are using or all are well versed with IT. So I can give you some examples. If you check in Google app or your app store, just find about a cash flow app where you can put your expenses. So there are pie charts which are shown. What is your expense for the month? Then you can check for the year, and then you can compare how I have improved over the period of time. So what I do is, even in my case, wherever I spend, I put it on that app. Spend for grocery, 3,000 rupees. So what happens when I check on a monthly basis, it helps me. Okay, 3,000 was too much. Probably I can reduce it to 2,500 next month. So this is what is called as some kind of a planning which you all can inculcate. And with IT, what I suggest is you can make use of the different apps which are available on the mobile. Then there is tax planning. Now tax planning is something which I can teach you once you start earning. Maybe when you get a salary of a particular amount, say X amount on a monthly basis, then you need something called as tax planning. Anyone who is working part-time, just raise your hands. Part-time, evening. No one? No? Okay. So basically, again, tax planning is something which we can take up later. Probably when I come back to this college and when you all start earning, I can have a session on tax planning. Investment planning, insurance planning, all this will come over a period of time. Now, these are some small things which I have considered spending frivolously. Like, let me take an example. How many of you have watched the movie recently? Recently, last 1 week, 2 weeks. Any movie which you all have watched? Oh, very good. There are some honest people here. Okay, 1, 2. That's it. No one else? So what was the ticket? Movie ticket cost? Online, okay. Amazon, free. Prime member. Okay, great. So here also, if you can understand, he has paid for the membership and he is watching it free. That means there is no cost, but there is a subscription amount which he is paying on a yearly basis. Simple example, even small expenses when added up can lead to a big hole in your pocket. So I'm not saying don't go for a movie or something, but if you go for a movie every week, what is the cost? Say 300. Every week, in a month, it comes to maybe 1,200 or more. So whether you can save on this cost. Possible? So these are small examples which you all can consider in your day-to-day life and think about some kind of a saving. Because when you talk about financial management, the first aspect is saving. If you save, then only you can invest. So let us take these two terms separately. One is saving and second is investing. But as of now, we are focusing only on saving. Now, a 50 rupees cappuccino by the sea with friends every evening will amount to 1,500 a month. Like, this is something we don't tend to think when we are spending. No, I'm having a good time with my friend. Okay, let me enjoy this coffee. But every day if you spend, then it leads to a big hole in your pocket. Correct, no? So these are the things which, as a youth, I think you all should consider. A first day, first show, 200 rupees movie ticket. I've already considered the example. Saving this additional amount every month can allow you for a particular amount. Now, I have considered 28,560. It can be even more in your case. It can be less in your case. So this depends upon your individual spending. Okay, even we, when we start working, we have to also think what we are earning and what we are spending and how much we are saving. That is very important. Okay, only need a few items ends up getting this. Now this generally happens with me, and I every time see, whenever I go to a superstore, okay, my son is there accompanied with me. Mama, I want this. Mama, I want that. So we end up buying things which we don't want. So what you all can do is plan a day in advance. Check in your house what you actually need. What are the grocery items you need? How many kgs you need? Prepare a list. If you prepare a list, you have a fair idea, okay, these are the actual things what you actually need or you are in need, not something which is in excess of your requirement. So this can save a lot. These are common financial mistakes. Second is mindless use of credit card. Now credit card is something which is good, okay, because you get 1 month time to pay for the dues, but at the same time, if you use it in the sense for every transaction you are making use of the credit card, you are not paying it on time, the interest will be very heavy. Now some students don't realize because parents say, okay, Baba, this is your credit card, you can spend, but just spend wherever you need it. Maybe your fees are to be paid, okay, fine, that's a requirement, but spending for a scooter, you want a scooter, whether actually it's required or whether you can travel by bus and manage that amount. So these are some things which you need to consider. Using credit card means spending borrowed money. Okay, understand. It's not that you have money in the bank account, but you are spending first and then at the end of the month you have to pay for this amount. They come with double-digit interest rates. We don't realize because when we get the statement, if we don't pay it on the due date, heavy interest is charged by the bank. So why simply to pay the interest? This is again one kind of outflow for you. Next one is carrying little for regular saving. Now generally what happens is we don't realize because when we come to college it's like, okay, we come here to study, correct? Spending is something, okay, we get pocket money, we have got 500 rupees. We have to spend it. But any student, if he thinks, okay, I get pocket money of 500, let me keep aside, say, 200 rupees and spend the remaining amount. 200 which you are saving will become a bigger amount in future. Okay, say for example, particular student A is saving 200 per day. In a month, it will come to 200 into 30. How much it comes to? 200 into 30. Okay, I just want to see if you all are paying attention. 6,000 in a year. 72,000. 72,000. That means if you keep aside this money every day, okay, you will save 72,000. Now the next question. Once you save for 6 months, how much you will have? 6 months. Mathematics, basic mathematics. 36,000. Half year you will have how much? 36,000. Now if I invest 36,000 somewhere, whether I will get interest, that is the next call. So once you get into a habit of saving, the next thing would be investing. Okay. Now many students are using, because I had gone to different colleges, Zerodha, Upstocks, they are into share trading. But one thing let me tell you, trading without knowledge is something like this here. That picture you can see, this one, you all will look like this. Because if you have knowledge, it is good to do some share trading. But if you don't have a knowledge, probably It's very difficult because you will incur a lot of losses. So what I suggest is, when you start saving, when you get into the habit of saving, invest in something which is less risky. Say like something a FD. You just do a FD of 36,000, you are getting a normal 6% interest. Okay, fine with it. Because you are creating a habit of saving and investment in the initial stage. Once you start earning, okay, once you have a very good amount, then you can think about buying a land or some property investment. So it has to go in that level, okay. So initially what I can suggest, you can put in post office, you can do some kind of FD, RD. These are the basic investments which are very less risky. Investing based on half knowledge or imitation, that's not something which I will suggest. If you want to invest in share trade, do proper study and then only you all invest. This is the money measurement. Okay, importance of savings. Now generally what happens in our cases, when we get money, maybe a gift on our birthday, dad is giving say 2000 rupees. Okay, we first think, okay, whether to go to Puma store, buy some shoes or a t-shirt. Correct, no? That is the first thing what comes to our mind. So if that thinking is changed, okay, my dad has given me 2000 rupees. Let me save 1500 out of that and let me spend 500. Is it a wise decision? Yes or no? Some of the students will not agree with me because you are not realizing the importance of saving. But when you start working, of course you will start with this process. Okay? So if I get 2000 from my dad, if I save 1500, yes, it is going to help me in future. In what way? If I want to go for my professional studies or some kind of a medical emergency or any contingency where I have to take out my funds, yes, that time it is beneficial. So how to save more? Save first, spend the rest. So when you have money, keep aside some amount and then you spend. It helps. Take precautions, avoid unexpected expenditure, develop a saving mindset, set goals and work towards it, differentiate between what you want and what you need. Now here, because my friend is buying something, no, I also need a bike. That is the kind of thinking what happens among the college student. But what you have to do is, you have to do some self-analysis. Whether my financial situation at home is such that I can afford a bike, whether I can put the same amount for my professional studies and think about earning more. Correct? So these are some of the points which you will have to consider. All are aware what is asset? You all have done a balance sheet. You all are done with a balance sheet preparation anytime. Asset, liabilities. What are assets? Is a car an asset? Yes, very good. Okay. If I have a house, is it an asset? Yes. So this will come after some time where you start with saving, investing, then you can think about buying assets. Okay. So this is for long term. But again, you need to understand what is your standard of living, whether it's actually required. Now, if I consider a BMW car and a normal i10 car, okay, what is the purpose of a car? Just to travel. So whether I need a BMW car and spend so much, or I can manage with i10. Correct? So these are kind of thinking what you have to understand. Here, there is something called as active versus passive income. Again, this will come once you start earning. So once you get a salary, okay, you have a fund. Say for example, from your salary you have saved a particular amount. Then you can think of investing somewhere. Say for example, if I buy a flat and I give it on rent, that rental income is my passive income. That means I'm not actually working for it, but I put my money in the flat and I'm gaining some kind of a rent on a monthly basis. So there is something called as active and passive. Active is something which you work and gain, and passive is something where you put your money, okay, and then you are getting a revenue on a monthly basis. So here you can see this, me watching my investments work to get me passive income. There's a nice image included here. So this is one part. Common mistakes. I have other two resource persons here, so I'm just skipping on some of the slides. Please don't mind, because this I wanted to cover, but let me just skip some of the slides and I'll cover what is actually important for you all. Now insurance, let me take just 2 minutes on this. Sometimes what happens, insurance you need to consider for your family. One insurance policy or a medical insurance is something which is currently required. While if something happens to your family, okay, now medical expenditure is also going on increasing. If you are admitted in a private hospital in a day or 2 days, the amount goes in lakhs or thousands, okay. So if you have a medical cover for your family, probably this insurance company will pay for the medical expenses. And again, you will save something instead of spending rigorously on medical expenditure, especially after post-COVID. Okay, if you have seen, there are n number of medical issues which currently we are facing. So it is always better you have one insurance policy, because if something happens to your family, you will not suffer, and a medical insurance. Okay, I'm not talking about 10 policies here, maybe one single policy which you can consider. Okay, accidental, all this, even Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, you all can do more study on this. Those are some of the facilities. Premium is 36 per month. So even if you pay 36 per month, your family have some kind of a safety here. 36 is nothing, no, for us. We spend 100 rupees without any thoughts, correct? Health insurance. Again, there are some schemes like Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. Plus there are some other like Max, Bupa or any other. Okay, I'm not promoting any insurance business here, but I'm just giving you examples. Okay, so these are some of the insurance related schemes. Now, one thing just to conclude, what I can say is, there are certain points where you need to understand, okay, why am I saving? Is it for self? Is it for family, or what is it? Because individual requirements will differ. Situation will differ. If you ask me, my situation, my family is different. If I ask you all, your situation is different. So when you decide about saving, investing, it is your individual call. Okay? You need to understand what are my requirements. Say for example, I have a student here, and to go abroad, he or she needs 5 lakh rupees. So can I start early? In the sense, if after clearing whatever post-graduation, if I start early, how do I save and make it up to 5 lakhs? So that is someone's target. My target would be, okay, I have a family, so I have to take care about education for my son or my family, other things. So I have to think from that perspective. So everyone's investment or amount analysis will differ. So one thing after the session, what you all can do is, one is download the app, Cashflow, if you can, and see how it goes for a month. You only will realize, okay, I was making these mistakes. I think I can improve here. And it will help for your future. If you all have any questions on financial literacy, financial management, I'm okay. You can ask me questions now. Any questions which you all have? Any specific question? So currently we are students. So what do we do? I think you can start small. I'm not expecting all of you to save 1,000 or 2,000 per day, but at least starting small will create a habit. Once you pass out from the college, okay, you will realize, okay, this is helping me in future. Any questions which you all have? Yes, sir.
Some of the students invested in foreign exchange.
Yes, yes.
So they are getting per month.
Very good.
Yeah. So what is your advice that is it good?
But if they have done a good study, I'm fine with it. As you said, they are earning a lakh of rupees. I think I should also take guidance from them because yes. As of now, there is nothing come up. So tomorrow, I'm also waiting for the budget, the next budget which will come up. As of now, people have gained. Okay, people are gaining, but from the government side, there is nothing. Yes, yes, yes. Correct. But no comments as of now because there is nothing official which I can declare here as of now.
Anybody else wants to answer the question? Anybody has a question?
Yes.
So, as a beginner, if I want to invest in the stock market, investing in a mutual funds is indirect investment in the stock market.
Correct. Correct.
So, as a beginner, I should invest in a mutual fund or I should directly jump in share market.
Okay, you have given me the answer. Investment in mutual fund is less risky. If you all have heard the advertisement of mutual fund, there is that 10 seconds message. Mutual funds are subject to market risk. Please read your investments or read the rules carefully before investing. That is the message what you get. But if you give me two options, directly investing in shares or investment in mutual fund, I would say for beginners it is always better you invest in mutual fund. Though I'm not a financial advisor, okay, but I'm just guiding you because, say for example, a particular mutual fund, okay, if you directly invest in the market and if the share price goes down, you're losing out on your money. But if you invest in a mutual fund, they will put it in different sectors, say like pharma sector or any other sector. So here, there are n number of companies which are involved in that mutual fund. So your money will not be lost directly, okay. It might happen that when the market is down, maybe it is a loss kind of a situation, but over a long time, if you ask me, it's a long-term investment, 5 years from now, of course you will gain. Currently, Sensex has touched more than 72, no? Correct? Basic. It has crossed 72. So, there was an article which was given in the newspaper. Over next 5 years, we are expecting Sensex to touch 1 lakh as per the article. Okay. So, if you invest in mutual fund, of course, you will get good returns. Now, one advice what I can give is select the fund properly. There are some funds which are doing very well. There are some funds which are not doing that great. Okay. So, like there is something called as growth fund. There is something called as liquid fund. Then there is something called as dividend payout, and under each mutual fund you will have n number of schemes which are given. Okay, I don't want to name, but I can give you some examples like Aditya Birla, Reliance, DSP. These are some of the mutual fund houses. So under that you will have growth fund. Under that you will have liquid fund. Now if you want to just park your money for say 6 months, you don't need it, but after 6 months you might need it. In that case, some people prefer to invest in the liquid fund, okay? Instead of keeping the money in the SB account, which will get me say 4 to 5% interest, liquid fund will give you interest of 7 to 8%. So, it depends upon what type of money, whether you want for long term, short term, accordingly the fund has to be selected. The mutual fund where you are putting your money. Yes.
Last 2 questions we'll take.
How to identify like good mutual funds?
Oh, Google. Just search for the past performance. Okay, the best answer. We ask everything to Google, no? So that is the thing. Or do some study on YouTube. Even if you type on YouTube best performing mutual funds for last 5 years, you'll get the answer. As I've named a few, those are doing very well in the market as of now. Any other question? Because the sessions are recorded, I cannot tell you about the mutual funds which are doing very well. We can have one-to-one conversation for that. Yes.
Ma'am, can you explain in detail about auto sweep option? Which is
Auto sweep option in mutual funds.
no, in savings. Meaning, whatever amount we are saving in bank, there is an auto sweep option, right?
Yes. So it is called a SIP, systematic investment plan. So what I do is, for example, monthly I am getting a salary. For example, it is 50,000 per month. I want to invest out of 50,000, 30,000 in a mutual fund. Okay? Every month it has to go from my bank account. If my salary is getting credited on 10, I want mutual fund to debit the amount of 30,000 on 11. If that is my condition. So what I do is, I give an application to the mutual fund, whichever mutual fund you want to choose, and I tell them I want to go for SIP, Systematic Investment Plan, of amount, and then give a cancel check and follow the documentation. Every month, that amount will be debited from my SB account, and it will be invested in the mutual fund. Now, what you can do is, you can select 3 mutual fund houses. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Why? Considering the risk. If one mutual fund is not doing well, second will of course give you good returns. Some people do something called as SWP. That means what? They put 1 lakh rupees in a liquid fund, in a mutual fund house, and from that liquid fund they put in different schemes. That is also possible. That is called as SWP, sweeping. Okay? And SIP is something which goes from your bank account. So if I can understand your question was how do I do a direct investment from the savings? So you can go for a SIP, Systematic Investment Plan, and you decide on the amount. So if it is 5,000, just to start with 5,000. Okay, if it is 10,000, 10,000, you decide on the amount. If you are looking for a bigger investment, I can suggest you put in different mutual funds. Say for example A, one mutual fund 10,000, B 10,000, then 10,000. That helps to diversify on your risk. Hope that's clear.
SWP.
Ma'am, last question.
SWP.
Yes.
Report for systematic withdrawal.
Withdrawal plan. So what happens is, if I invest, for example, ABC mutual fund, okay, I put there 5 lakh rupees. It is gone from my SB account. It is gone to that mutual fund liquid, where I am getting an interest of 7 to 8%. Plus, on a daily basis or a monthly basis or 15 days basis, I can do SWP. That means what? Every 15 days, particular amount as per your requirement will go from that liquid fund to the particular scheme. So it is not going from your bank account, it is going from the liquid mutual fund to the other scheme. The benefit of SWP is, you are getting interest here on the liquid. Say for example, 5 lakh is become 4 lakh after passing on to different funds. On that 4 lakh you will get 7 to 8%. At the same time, when you do this investment, on the further investment you are getting returns of 15 to 20%. So that is SIP, that's like a normal, but we call it as SWP because it is going from liquid fund. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's the same like SIP. Yes.
Good morning, ma'am. I want to know which is the best place to invest in, whether it's a bank, stock market or SIP. And can you please highlight the interest rate of all three?
Bank,
Stock market and SIP.
okay. Bank is something generally SB will give you 4% to 5%, not more than that. Only senior citizens in few banks they get a higher interest rate, okay, 7% or something. Stock market is something which is very risky. Again, it depends upon which shares you are investing for. Okay, SIP. Now SIP again depends upon the mutual fund house. Some mutual fund houses are giving 15 to 20% interest as well. Some mutual fund houses are giving 10 to 15%. Now how to decide about the investment is, one is based on your age. I'll just share this. My dad and me always have this interaction. He says, okay, Baba, CA, tell me, where should I invest? I have 5 lakh rupees. This is generally the interaction with my dad. So I'm like, okay, put no in mutual fund. Why you are keeping it in the saving account? No mutual fund. Risky re Baba. If I need funds, then what? Or if I lose out on money, then what? Because he's a retired person. He won't put his money in something which is risky. It is hard-earned money. But if you ask me, if I have some surplus, I always prefer to put in mutual fund. So it depends upon your age criteria as well. How much risk you can consider. What is your risk appetite? Okay, especially retired and 60 years and above prefer to go for RD, FD, something which is less risky. Or postal. They just go to the post office, do a NSE, MIS, PPF and they are satisfied. Because it's giving them peace of mind later. They can sleep peacefully at home. But if you ask me, younger generation or the youth, they go for mutual funds because they want higher returns, they want higher benefits. So it depends upon your risk appetite. So here, basic rates I have told you, but decision, and if it is in the initial stage, I can always recommend go for something which is banks or post office instead of stock market. initial stage you need to learn about it and then probably invest. Yeah. I hope I have resolved all your queries. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for such a wonderful presentation and for answering all the queries of our audience. Thank you very much. Any other questions that our students may have, they are free to resolve them in person. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We now move on to our second session by Mr. Mrunal Marathe on Mera Yuva Bharat, My Bharat Portal and opportunities for youth in and with government. I now request our student Richa from SYPF to formally introduce our guest of honor.
A pleasant afternoon to everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our next guest, Shri Mrunal Marathe, who has graciously accepted our invitation to join us today. Shri Mrunal Marathe has graduated with a BA Honours in Economics from Ashoka University in the year 2020. On January 2023, he secured rank 1 in Goa Civil Service exam conducted by Goa Public Service Commission. He joined us as a junior scale officer of Goa Civil Service and he is currently holding position of Deputy Commissioner of State Tax, Admin, GST Audit. He will be joining the Government of Goa as a Group A Gazetted Officer of the Goa Civil Service. He has completed 14 courses such as the Indian Economy, Intermediate Microeconomics, Diplomacy and Statecraft in South Asia, Data-Driven Electoral Analysis and few others to his credit. Today, we will be discussing and I am confident that Shri Mrunal Marathe will provide valuable insights and perspectives on this important session on Mera Yuva Bharat, My Bharat Portal and opportunities for youth in and with government by Swayampurna Mitra. On behalf of our college, GVM's Dr. Daivajna College of Education, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Shri Mrunal Marathe. I am sure that this interaction with our next speaker will be a valuable learning experience for all of us. Let's give a big round of applause to welcome our guest. Thank you.
Check. Good afternoon, students. Are you tired? Yes, no? A little bit tired. I was also a college student not much years back, so I can understand how difficult these lectures can get. I used to also try a lot, pay a lot of attention, but doesn't really happen, no? But what I can tell your students is, even during these lectures, there was always one or two things which used to stick with me. And then later on, they helped me in points of my life where I never thought they would guide me that well. So today, if you all can even like take 1% to 2% to like two things which stick with you all, I think our whole exercise will be a success. Okay, so I won't take much time. I'll just briefly tell you all today about some opportunities within the government and some assistance from the government side which can be provided to you all while thinking about your careers. And yeah, let me start. Can you get the next one? Thank you. Okay, so I think this is the third time we are seeing this quote today. Arise, awake and stop not until the goal is reached. And I think the Honorable Minister very well explained the significance of this quote. But I think beyond all, this sums up very well the spirit with which we as youth need to look at our futures and our careers today. We need to have a focus and a goal in mind and not stop until it is reached. And there couldn't have been a better quote to start this particular program and this particular lecture, and not from a better person than Swami Vivekananda himself. Swamiji was one of the greatest thinkers, a very great orator and a passionate patriot of this country. And as was also told by Mr. Bhaskar Khandeparkar, Swamiji's lecture in the 1893 World Parliament of Religions at Chicago was one of the most insightful lectures you all can ever read. So if any one of you all are even looking to be orators or looking for depth of ideas, you all should really go and read that particular lecture. It has such complexity yet such simplicity of ideas. And Swamiji's appeal in that lecture was something which was celebrated and applauded worldwide. So please, I would really suggest you all and encourage you all to read this particular lecture. And that is why his birth anniversary on 12th January is celebrated as the National Youth Day. And our whole celebrations of the National Youth Week are to celebrate this great personality. But before we move forward, it is also important to understand why is the government focusing so much on the youth. So you all must have seen the speeches of this Honorable CM, Honorable Prime Minister as well, that there's so much focus on youth, Mera Yuva Bharat, My Bharat. But what is the reason, what is the importance of focusing so much on the youth? So India right now has more than 50% of its population below the age of 25 and almost more than 65% of its population below the age of 35. Another statistics is that India is one of the largest working age population among any of the major economies right now. But what does these two statistics convey to us? Is that India today has the youngest population of the whole world. We have a population with a median age of 28. And this is at a time when most of the developing world, the Western countries are all suffering with problems of an aging population. Like countries like US and China, they have a median age of 37, whereas Japan has a median age of 49. But can anyone of you all think a little bit like why is an aging population a problem for a nation? Why would we consider an aging population as a burden? Anyone of you all? Or on the corollary, why is the youthful population supposed to be an advantage for the nation? Come on, I was told that you all are like really smart students, you have completed your graduation and you are going to be teachers now. You are going to be guiding students. You all can definitely take a guess at this. Any of you? Sure. Can you not give it a mic?
Okay, so considering a child and the old age person are considered to be liabilities, whereas youth are considered to be asset because they are more working. As per my
That was a wonderful attempt. Just to put whatever you said a little more better words, is that there is this one concept in economics which we study known as a demographic dividend, which is there. Have anyone of you heard about this concept, demographic dividend? Yes, no? Yes? So what does this concept of demographic dividend mean? It basically means is that when the working age population, that is youth between 15 years of age to 64 years of age, is much larger than the non-working age population, that is those below 14 and those above 64, they can much better support the burden. I wouldn't use the word liability, there's a negative connotation to the word liability, but they can very well support the non-working age population. And this in turn creates a huge economic growth potential for a country. So this demographic dividend is the reason why so much focus is there on the youth. And each of our nations goes through a phase, and India today is in the phase where we are going to have a growing youth population up until the 2050s. So you all must have heard the Honorable Prime Minister also talking about the Amrit Kal. Have you all heard? Amrit Kal, Agle 25 Saal Amrit Kal. What is this Amrit Kal? This is the Amrit Kal. 2022 to 2047 is going to be the 25 years when India is going to have a growing youth population. And that's why that also coincides with the goal of a developed India in 2047 or the Viksit Bharat. But what is important for all of us to note is that this demographic dividend can very well become a demographic disaster if we do not invest in the youth, if we do not invest in their health, their education, their employment opportunities. So keeping all this in mind, it is also a responsibility among all of you as youth to remember to focus on your careers and realize your full potential. And keeping this in mind, the government is also focusing a lot on youth opportunities. And one of them is this Mera Yuva Bharat scheme, or the My Yuva Bharat Portal. This portal was launched by the Prime Minister on 31st of October on the occasion of Rashtriya Ekta Divas. So basically, I can see that probably most of you are getting a little bit bored. So I'll just sum up what exactly the portal has for you all. This is basically a portal where you all can register yourselves and enroll for events, volunteership opportunities, courses. You can also look for some internship opportunities which can be there on this portal, and all of this is completely free of cost from the government side. And going forward, this is going to emerge as this one-stop platform wherein all forms of assistance from the government to the youth is going to be through this platform. So I would really recommend almost all of you all to register on this platform. This is the URL mybharat.gov.in. Right now it is in a very young stage, a very developing stage, but in the few years it has a lot of potential to have a lot of opportunities which you all can take up. The second small thing I want to talk about is the Swayampurna program. I am sure you all have also heard a lot about the Swayampurna program.